From the confines of a prison cell to the stress of everyday life, it's been said we're all doing time. So remember, it's always a thin line. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to It's Always a Thin Line. I'm Teacher William here with my good friend Boss Man. How you doing today, Boss Man?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm good to go. Excited to be here today.
All right.
Breakout video.
All right, great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest, and his we're gonna call him Captain because that's definitely what he was. Boss Man's gonna run the majority of this show. He's gonna interview the captain. But first thing I want to say is, along with Boss Man, there's maybe four or five. Honestly, there's about four or five COs that I would definitely, or captains or lieutenants or sergeants out there that I definitely would love to see again because they were definitely positive influences. It didn't matter that I was a convict, didn't matter that they wore a uniform. They treated me like a human being. They didn't take none of my crap, don't get me wrong. And this is one of them. It's Captain. How you doing today, Captain? Good to see you after so many years. It's been over 10 years, over 12 years since I last saw you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and it's actually been over 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'll take it. 20 years, I'll take it. Man, just to let you guys know where this guy stands in my sphere. My greatest memory, yes. Yeah, mister.
You know what? I got a little confused. It is about 10 years.
Yeah, about 12 years, about 10, 12 years. But hey, time flies. Um, but the greatest memory I have with the captain is where we were on the floor, and it was day room time, and it was when the Boston Red Sox were playing the New York Yankees in the World Series, the first time that they met up. The captain was there watching it. He was standing, keeping his post, but he was watching the TV. I was talking nonsense the whole time. He kept telling me, "God damn it, Alfaro, shut up." And I was there when Boston won. Yeah. And I saw the look on the captain's face.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
And decided I should just go ahead and lock myself up before he got the chance. So that was a for real, Captain. That was a special moment to me because yes, you were wearing a uniform and a badge, and yes, I was wearing a convict's uniform. But at that moment, we were two men enjoying a baseball game and mutual respect. Again, the line wasn't blurred. Nobody crossed over the line. It wasn't nothing like that. But two men enjoying a ball game, having a good time for just a brief second. And I just want to let you know, sir, that memory stuck with me. I tell that to some of my students. I tell that story to some of my students now. My best friend knows who you are. He's he's off to the side right now, looking at you, wondering, "Wow, okay, so this is the other guy." So, yeah, guys, all I can say to our listeners is this is a good man right here. Uh, you know, you're good people in my book, not just because of that moment, but every other moment. You always treated me like a human. You always knew I was a convict. You used to tell me, Alfaro, stop listening to my conversations. Alfaro, go sweep over there. Why you got to sweep next to me all the time? And I don't know why you guys are talking. You see Alfaro sweeping right there, don't you?
Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah,
Dumbo.
forever. But Captain was, one of the ones who saw through a lot of stuff and used to be like, man, this guy, but always treated me like a human. Yeah, talk, Captain.
And let me tell you something, Teacher Will. I thought about the same memories that you're sharing right now. We used to, even at our security meetings, your name will come up because you were always close to the staff inside the office or inside the hallway. We always had to be aware where Teacher Will was because he has some satellite ears. He can just pick up every bit of information. And once he goes back in that pod, which is a dorm, I would just watch him, and he would just go around and share a little bit of information. And no matter the things that you did, you was a good man. You was a good human being. And let me tell you something. You made my job easy because you always was there to help me out. Even the dirty tasks that you were given, you complained a little bit, but you did it. And let me tell you something. Some of us never forgot that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. God bless you. It's great to see you. All right. Well, guys, that's my angle. That's my, we might talk a little bit more about this, but really I want to hand this one over to Boss Man and let Boss Man do this great interview that's about to happen. This is not scripted. There's no, there's no retakes or nothing. So this is some great stuff, guys, and I really hope you enjoy this interview. And man, I can just say for real, just to let everybody know, guys, I just got a big promotion, right? I went from the shoe cell to now I'm a manager in charge of a learning and development department. I won't mention the company's name because I just won't. But yeah, I'm a manager, and today was a really hard day. This is my first week. And today, my boy's right here. He can attest that at lunch I was down. I was working hard. I was trying just to, because being a manager is something, I didn't know. So, and today was a rough day. But you know what, sir? When I saw you again, and Boss Man, I mean, for real, I really want to talk to the listeners and say one thing, that these guys treated me human, man. I mean, understanding I was a convict, not crossing the lines, not breaking rules. But these people treated me as a human. And within the parameters that they were allowed, they gave me as much trust as they could. And
that's right.
This was a huge part of my rehabilitation, because there were times where I was in the pod, and there was something maybe I was thinking about getting caught up in. And I used to think like, dude, if I get caught up in this, I'm going to lose my job, and then they're going to come laugh at me in the hole, talk trash to me, and I'll never get the job back. I'll never, and I just got to do the rest of my time here, doing whatever, So I cherished that little bit of trust. And when I got out, whenever people within companies, within departments, within whatever, whenever they would give me a little bit of trust, I always did my best to cherish that, take care of it. And I've always thought back about those times where I was walking with my cart with no escort, from L unit to medical. So thank you guys. You guys were a huge part of that. So let me hand it over now, Boss Man. Take it away.
All right, everybody. I'm honored to have Captain here. It's a privilege and an honor to have him. I've known Captain for many, many years, and I wanted to give the audience, our listeners, a special perspective, what it really takes from me as an officer. I just worry about my unit and the people in there. It's a big responsibility. But while talking to the captain, he brought up a very good point, that the captain's not only in charge of the entire facility, medical, mental, the kitchen, the rec yards, perimeters. And I wanted the audience to get a perspective from a huge responsibility, and I wanted him to share it with you guys. And if you don't mind, Captain, tell him a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got into it, and where you come from.
Thank you, Boss Man. Joined the service in 1984, retired in 2004, and inside those 20 years for the United States Navy, I had the opportunity to spend four and a half years inside a military prison. That's where I got my first taste of corrections life, and learned a lot. I came across some good people that later on down the year became my mentors and showed me how to conduct myself as a correction officer when you communicate with detainees or inmates. It's very important that you come across anybody, you always treat them with respect
Yep.
When it came to inmate detainees, always respect and acknowledge them and listen to them. Don't ignore them. Any little thing that they come up to you and ask you for something, if it's in the rules and policies, if I can help them, I help them. If not, I just be honest and tell them I can't do it. But inside the military prison, like I said, graduated from the academy as an officer, promoted to sergeant, then lieutenant, then captain. And in 2004, I retired. Just a couple of months later, I applied for corrections, federal corrections, immigration, and United States Marshal. And I got picked up, did a several months academy, graduated as an officer. With my experience in the military, I promoted straight to lieutenant, skipped sergeant, went straight to lieutenant, and then went to captain. And it was truly a reward to get that position and able to work with staff, officers, inmates, and detainees. With my experience and my way I've done business, it helped me do my job on a daily basis.
So Cam, what is the biggest difference you think from the population from the military brigs to the civilian?
Of course, in the military environment, our inmates at the military prison that I worked at was sexual offenders. Inmates from all branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, anybody that violated and assaulted another human being, child, woman, or another man, and you got convicted, that's where you will end up, inside the military prison in San Diego, Miramar, California. Of course, the inmates have a lot of military bearing. Right. Though they made mistakes, they are still disciplined to a certain point. And on the other hand, when you go to a state or federal prison, there's a lot of violent people in there. There's a lot of good inmates and detainees. But in those state and federal prisons, it's a different life. There's no barons. It's just violence, evil. And those inmates and detainees, they got to survive and they got to do what they have to do. You know, a lot of people from the outside, don't understand that once you're locked up, you're in the hands of some violent people, even though guards, captains, sergeants, lieutenants, even though we run the facility inside those dorms, those pods, you got some people that take control of other inmates and take advantage. So those inmates in the federal and state, very violent people, and you better have some good communication skills to talk to them like human beings and handle the situations in there.
So we were just talking about this, previously, and you brought up a good point, how you used to come early to the shift to look at what officers you have, where you can put your strong officers, where Teacher Will was, with all the knuckleheads and the high levels. And I'm not going to bullshit you, Captain. I used to get upset because I was always with the high levels. I get it. I was a strong officer. But after talking to you, I realized the responsibility you have. And if you can touch on why you came in early, why you put the strong officers where you did, male and female, because I think it's important to discuss that so that our listeners and officers, like myself, who used to get pissed off because I would be down there with the high levels, we can understand why you did what you did.
Yes, and I would come at least an hour to 2 hours early to prepare my shift, because the most important thing to me was the safety of my officers, administration, kitchen staff, medical staff, and the inmates and detainees. That was my responsibilities, to make sure their well-being was being taken care of. And for an example, A unit, which was the level 3, if I'm not mistaken, the most violent and physical inmates with the most serious charges. A unit was the most challenging unit for every captain.
Right.
You just couldn't put in somebody who lacked courage, lacked communication skills, the ability to look into an inmate in his face and tell him no. A lot of people don't have that skill.
I love it.
That's why when I made those assignments, I didn't give a damn what anybody said. I needed a strong team because segregation was also down there. Segregation is where inmates or detainees that violate policy and procedures within the facility or hurt somebody, they get locked down for 23 hours a day. So I needed a strong team down in that unit, Alpha unit, which had about 3 pods and segregation. So I always looked at watch the post assignments, and I would make sure that each pod in that A unit, you had a strong officer. And if sometimes I didn't have an option, I had to stick somebody in there that was young, a rookie, or was scared, because when you came to the academy, A unit was the unit that everybody talked about.
Right.
Nobody wanted to go down there. Nobody wanted to go down there because you can get hurt. You can see really ugly things in that unit. You have to be able to do several things at one time. So when I did stick young people down there, or rookies, or people that were intimidated, I will make sure that there were strong officers around him, right, to protect him and to help him in making the wise decisions. So
can you explain a little bit, and before I get there, we're going to talk about the female. Why were you laughing, Teacher Will, when he was talking about putting the rookies down there that are weak? Because I bet for you guys, that was the best. It was fun to see what they were really about. Picking on the fresh fish, right?
To be honest with you, yeah. I mean, I remember when that happened, I actually had one of those rookies. This is not anything, but basically, long story short, I stopped one of the rookies in front of Taz and everybody else.
Oh yeah.
And I told him, "Hey, do you like a dick in your ass?" And he said,
I shouldn't laugh.
He said, "No, I don't like a dick in my ass." And I said, "Oh, so you've had a dick in your ass?" And he's like, "No, I've never had a dick in my ass." And I'm go, "Well, then how can you tell me you don't like a dick in your ass?" Now, a seasoned officer would have either told me to shut the fuck up already, walked away, jammed me up, done a million things already. But this guy stood there and engaged me in front of the entire pod. So I was like, let's go with it. So I told him, "What do you mean? I don't think that you could accurately say you don't like a dick in your ass because you've never experienced it. And I feel that if you had, maybe you might like it. And that's a possibility. But what I can tell you, sir, is that you cannot accurately say I don't like a dick in my ass because you've never had one, supposedly." Anyways, this officer got really angry, and it ended with him eventually screaming in front of the pod, "I don't like a dick in my ass," which was completely unprofessional. Yeah, I mean, it was, look at Captain. He, even after all these years, he ain't really laughing. He's like, "Really? My officer did that? Really? Really? That's what you did to my officer?" So yeah, that really happened. And it's true, and we could smell them a mile away. It's the minute they walk in the door, there was no fooling, there was no joking, there was no this guy or this woman. they're fresh. It's time to go play and see what we can get away with. And yeah, precisely. So
Nice. Thank you.
good
So,
catch.
Captain, explain why you would put strong female officers down there, because I think the females are 100 highly underrepresented, highly underappreciated, and they're just being a female has a huge impact on the male population.
And that's true. You can ask Teacher Will when he had a female come in as a guard. The level of tension, anxiety, anger, violence, whatever they have inside, they might be having a bad day. But when they see a female come in that's going to be with them for the next 8 hours, they become relaxed. They want to start conversations with them. They want to have conversations with them. But I know from experience that when you put I wouldn't put a weak female officer. I would not. That's too dangerous for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to live with the fact that something happened to her. But I would put a strong female, and I do have strong females in mind right now, but I'm not going to say their names. But I told them before they head down to A unit, I would tell them, I want you to hold it down. I want you to be fair, firm, and consistent. Don't play with their minds. Don't walk around looking sexy. Don't wear extra perfume. I want you to go in there, and I want you to handle it. Because I know your 8-hour shift, I know it's going to be good because those inmates, those detainees, they get to feel relaxed. I can't put the words exactly on what I'm trying to say, but at times having a female officer in there from the inmates and detainees side, it brings them down. It brings their anxiety,
Yes,
their level down. And for the 8 hours, I tell you, I don't hear any problems on the radio. Nobody calls me down there because there's problems or there's fights. And those inmates, detainees, for those 8 hours, they enjoyed, and I'm being straight up, they enjoy seeing a woman down there.
So,
but of course, there had to be a strong team around her.
Amen. So I have to apologize, and I have a lot of respect for you, Captain. I'm not a guard. I'm an officer. Okay. You keep saying guard, but it's good. It's good. And I could tell Teacher Will was laughing because that's when he called me the very first day. I said, hold on. A guard is someone at Plaza Bonita Mall.
It's been a while for me. I haven't had a conversation about corrections 10, 12 years. So this is the first time I'm actually talking about my profession, and I'm going to make mistakes, and don't hesitate to check me.
So on that perspective, we did in interviews on the first day in and then the first day out. How do you feel now being out for so long? Do you miss it? Well, you give us a favorite memory, or like you would tell me, yeah, Teacher Will, I remember him, and I'm not going to say some of the words you said, but he was a good guy. He worked his ass off, but yeah, I knew what he was about. He was about coming up, but he came through, and we respected that. So if you don't mind, give us a perspective of now after being out for so long. Do you miss it, or how you feel about it?
Well, being in the military for so long, being a leader my whole professional life, it's in my blood to supervise, to motivate, and to make my people grow and promote and go on to the best things they can in their life. Working at the facility and being out so long, I think about it so much. Not only the money was good for me as a captain, but knowing that my officers look up to me, look forward working for me, they enjoy working for me,
Amen.
And they trusted me. I always took recommendations from officers. If they had better ideas, I use it. I'm not perfect. They know that dorm, they know that pod better than me. They know their inmates, they know their detainees. I will have to trust them. If they had a different idea from me, I would consider it, and it sounded good. I will go with it. It wasn't just my way. I would listen to my officers, my staff, and I do miss it. I do miss leading and having all that responsibility on my hands, all that power.
Yes.
To take care of not only the inmates and detainees, but more important to me was my staff.
Right.
No matter if they were administration, kitchen, it didn't matter. My number one important goal was you come on 8-hour shift and you go home on an 8-hour shift. And of course, inmates and detainees were important enough too.
Right.
It was very important that their well-being were being taken care of.
So I have a question to both of you, Teacher Will and Captain. I love the response of when I brought up the idea to both of you. One, I'll have Captain first respond is, what were your original thoughts when I told you I was doing this podcast with an ex-detainee from where we were at for so many years? I mean, I was there 16 years, before I left, and you were there a very long time also. What was your original thought when I told you, hey, I'm doing this? What do you think?
I was excited for you because you're from the streets. Right. I know your background. You're my friend outside the uniform. I know some things about you. I know you're loyal. Amen. And I know that you're streetwise. And I love the way you did business inside the facility. I observed you.
Thank you.
From a distance. And I care about you a lot. And I was excited when you told me about this project. And what even made me more excited was this guy right here,
and just so you guys know, he's pointing to Teacher Will on the screen.
All the, I know about Teacher Will, but that one story that you shared with me about one of your podcasts about Teacher Will going to his court date and his father in the audience.
Yes,
and that situation that Teacher Will came across, the way he handled it, it touched me because I know Teacher Will, he's not perfect, just like all of us. We're not perfect, but he's always been a good person, respectful, intelligent. And when I heard you were doing something with him, I was excited to retouch basis with him. And I heard that he's doing very well and he's loved. He's got his family. He got God. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud that he made his changes in his life to be the best man he can be. So I got excited when I heard he was part of the project.
Thank you. Teacher Will.
Man, I just let me just say, first of all, Captain, I those are deep words, man. I truly appreciate them. Guys, every day I struggle out here. It's really hard as I get older. When I first got out, I guess it wasn't so hard, but now, I mean, I got a lot of problems with sleeping and stuff and nightmares and panic attacks at night and just crazy stuff, right? So it causes me a lot of self-doubt a lot of times. I say, man, am I doing right? And my pops is a real good guy, and he's always, and my mom too. My mom is awesome. And they're always telling me like, hey, you're doing good. You're working. The pandemic happened, but you kept your head up and you kept pushing forward. You took whatever jobs you could get during the pandemic. You weren't, high-minded. And, I was this position before. and now I kind of earned my way back. And man, to hear you say that, Captain, it means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Um, I went from the shoe cell to where I am now, and uh, I thank you, man, for real. I really respect those words, and again, I can only say that I don't necessarily speak for a lot. I believe my experience inside those walls, both in state and later in San Diego, San Ysidro, whatever. Um, I believe mine was a unique experience for real. And I believe I was really blessed to interact with people like you guys, and that whole crew. I mean, you can think back and think who all those crew, who they were. I don't want to mention their names, but they know who they are. And if they're listening to this, if you're listening to this, if you're a sergeant, you know who you are. If you're CO, you know who you are. You know how you interacted with me. And I just got to tell you, you guys were part of my rehabilitation. I gotta tell you, when I got down here, I got desperate one time, and I called my dad, and I was like, "Dad, you know, I just want to come home. I just want to see you. I want to come home. Let me home." And my dad told me, he was like, "Look, son, you want to make that jump? If you get caught, you're going back to jail for sure, without a doubt. Nobody's gonna cut you a break because you're an
Yep.
ex-felon. You've already been deported. So if that's what you really want to do, let's talk about it. I'm not going to say no, but let's talk about it. But I want you to think." And I got to tell you, those 2 days that I had to think, I thought one of the things I thought about was your guys' face. Yours, seriously, boss man. Seriously, you, sir, captain. I have never forgotten you. The sergeant, I think you guys know up in Med Unit what I'm talking about. Uh, some of them who are not even alive today, rest in peace,
Yes,
good
sir.
people. Uh, I thought about your faces if you saw me in a holding cell in R&R back, you know, like I thought about what your faces might show, maybe disappointment, because you guys always treated me like a human. And you always told me, "Hey, stay out of here. Don't come back." When I knew you guys, I was not even 30 yet. I was still in my 20s. And you guys, I looked up to you, even though you were COs and all that. And don't get me wrong, I looked up to the right people on my side of the wall too. But I'm just saying, you guys really showed me that, I've never had a hatred for police, man. I just don't have it. I can't develop it. I think there's some police out there that are really bad and they need to be dealt with. And I have joked around with the fuck the police sometimes and said it here and there. But in my hearts of hearts, men like you two, other men that I met throughout, and other women as well. Again, I want to shout out to that sergeant because she really helped me, man. She used to say real things to me and change my thoughts sometimes. Um, People like you allowed me to rehabilitate. I mean, I was a drug addict, I was a thief, I was this, I was that, I was all these things. And today I can say, hey, I've been an English, an EFL teacher, for I don't know, 11 years now. I've helped over 800 people get jobs and provide for their families. I'm doing the manager thing now, and it's because, yes, I rehabilitated because a lot of people like you, not a lot, but a good solid number and a good group of COs and people like you, just by being the good characters that you are. You weren't you didn't give me special treatment. You didn't go out of your way to be nice to me. This is the character of who you guys were, you
Right.
know? So when all this went down, I mean, Boss Man and I have been, and we've, you know, thrown around ideas of projects before. We've just never buckled down and got busy on it. And you know, and Boss Man, I gotta say, Boss Man helped me out. He invested in my little company. I mean, the company is not producing great things, but we wouldn't exist without Boss Man and his trust in us. And Boss Man hand over his credit card. "Hey, little dude, you mess with my car, I swear to God, I'm gonna get a plane, come down there and do something to you." But that little bit of, I mean, come on, think about it. An ex officer handing his credit card over to an ex con in another country, to invest in his business, hoping maybe one day he'll get a couple bucks back. What kind, that's good people right there. And when Boss Man told me, "Hey, listen, he said your name. I don't want to say your name, but he said your name when he said Captain so and so. I'm talking to him. Boss man can attest. Oh, wow. Yeah, Boston and New York, standing in front of the TV. Yeah, I did went into it right. So when he said that to me, I was overjoyed to do this. Super happy, super happy to do this. It was great for me. It was an awesome. And like I said, today was a rough day, but when I saw Captain, I saw Boss Man, nothing but good memories. And that's crazy because, like Captain said, and like Boss Man has said many times, there's a lot of evil in there. So how can a convict look back and look at two guards and say, "Hey, nothing but good memory"? You know, I cleaned a lot of shit for you guys. Thank you for thank you for
a lot of blood.
Say what, Say what, Captain?
A lot of blood.
A lot of blood, a lot of shit. And thank you for the sack lunches. You know, those were most delicious sack lunches ever.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ah, yes, definitely. So definitely, yeah.
So I know we've been on a minute. I would love to have the captain back to highlight in a second episode where we can highlight some of his stories, his fond memories, his exciting memories, his cell extractions, his good times, his bad times. Because getting it from a captain's perspective is tremendous. It's huge. I mean, you get in an officer, yeah, I didn't want to promote. That wasn't my thing. It was not for me. It wasn't me. I like to be in the thick of the shit and run with it. And yeah, I got a lot of tattoos and I was a product of my environment, and that's what we become. But if Captain, you're up to it, we would love to have you back and get some more insight and knowledge from you. What do you say?
I would definitely like to invite you back, Captain, for a part 2. I'd love to. What do you say?
I would love to come back. Definitely the opportunity to see you again, Teacher Will. And the more I look at you, the more memories come into my mind. And I tell you, I always had to have eyes behind my back when it came to you. Not in a bad way, but I know Teacher Will. I know he's listening to everything I'm doing in there.
For real. And man, it's gonna be great. And the cool thing is the funny thing about all that is you always told me, "Hey, Alfaro, you don't need to be standing here. Get the cleaning." You know? I mean, you'd walk in. "All right, Alfaro, out. I need to talk to my officers." All the way out, down the hall, other side, go. And even in those moments, always treated me like a human. I mean, you understood the game. I understood the game. You understood what I was doing, and it was time for you to win the game. And that's generally how it goes. So
it's incredible that we had some hardcore inmates in there during our time, hardcore violent inmates, but the name that constantly came up was yours.
On that note, I want to say we keep it real. We keep it raw. We want to give you our experiences. We don't bullshit. We tell it like it is. But like we always say, it's always a thin line. And no matter what decision you make, as you can tell with the captain, with Teacher Will, with myself, love and respect one another all the time. And if you guys want more, hey, we're going to bring you more episodes.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. Please check out part 2. It'll be coming real soon. And until next time, always show love, always show respect, and remember, it's always a thin line.
Peace.